Hi, everyone. Welcome to the University of Pittsburgh 2021 Mentoring and Advising Summit. I'm Sarah Lenardi. I'm the founding director of the Central for Analytical Approaches to Social Innovations, or CAASI, at GISBIA. And our goal is to bridge research to practice between mathematical social science and the practical day-to-day things in working with organizations that service vulnerable populations. And today we have a wide range of people from the university, from academia, talking about their experiences being a quantitatively oriented person who is very interested in the social justice path. So we're going just to have a casual conversation between us, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hi, everyone. My name's Emmanuelle Ryle. So I actually just graduated in December with my undergraduate degree from Pitt in math and computer science. And sort of within the last year of getting that degree, I realized I didn't want to go into a super quantitative, super businessy type role. And so right now I'm working on figuring out how to best bridge like social justice and math in a graduate program.
I'm Sean Hudson. I am a recent-ish graduate from GISBIA. CAASI actually kind of started as I was in my last semester there. But what kind of interested me in this is I moved actually from a social work background, worked in inpatient mental health for about 7 years. And my undergraduate degree is actually in social work. So I kind of came from that change-oriented mindset into a more analytical set of work and wanted to kind of bridge that gap and get those two things together.
Hi everyone, I'm Robizan Hubulashvili. I graduated from Penn State last year and I joined Pittsburgh. I joined CAASI to be more specific. The reason I joined CAASI, one reason why I chose CAASI was exactly the idea behind all these meetings is I'm mathematically oriented social scientist. I like using my skills try to solve at least real problems. Currently, I'm involved with Sarah and other people in a wide range of projects, and all of them has the same very similar idea behind, which is like trying to use mathematical or computer skills to attack or try to and challenge real problems in the world.
Hi, I'm Michael Hamilton. I got my degrees in mathematics and operations research, and now I'm an assistant professor, not in CISPIA, but in CAASI, the Graduate School of Business here at University of Pittsburgh. And I work on problems, I guess, related to revenue management and pricing, but sort of moving towards more market design and socially oriented problems.
As a mathematician, what was challenging in doing work that follow your social conscience? And can you give an example in either your education or for people that have worked in working?
For me, I think the most challenging part about getting a math degree and studying math is just that I feel like, especially after working with CAASI, it just feels like you're not really around your people. Like in an undergraduate math curriculum, there's just so much focus on like making you marketable and making you someone who is going to be able to generate revenue and stuff like that. And I feel like there wasn't a lot of support for an alternative path. And so I think that for me, it was just difficult to maintain like interest and momentum in math as a field when, you know, I would spend like 20 hours a week on a problem set that we would get back to class and the professor would say, oh, I knew there wasn't an answer to this. I just wanted to see your thought process. And that was really demoralizing. And I think that, you know, that was like a challenging aspect of it. And in addition to that, I think when we were given real world problems, they were oftentimes not the types of problems that I was interested in. I know there's a big focus with some of the professors I worked with like sports and just like how to best like recruit new teammates and stuff like that and new players. And I just thought that there were better uses of our skill set. And so I think that is like sort of the most salient example is just the focus of the real world problems we were given weren't really social justice problems. And I feel like that was like a big oversight. I feel like we really could have used mathematicians on some real world social justice problems in the community.
So my background's definitely going to be pretty different from kind of everyone else's here, whereas mine like started sort of in that place where I think the biggest challenge is people sort of in that social justice career space, you know, social work clinicians tend to kind of see those values as being at odds with kind of the more quantitative and technological methods. So it's the challenge there is kind of showing the value in like using data to support decisions. Whereas like, you know, I think that maybe I don't know if anyone has worked kind of in the medical space or mental health, but a lot of there's this kind of big debate about like the evidence-based practice, which means a different thing there than it sounds like. Whereas like it's actually like kind of a model that has soured a lot of, I think, kind of mental health professionals on using data and information in that way.
My biggest problem was that unless any idea was publishable or any idea was marketable, they were not interested in. So I love sports economics. I love sports science. I like everything that Emmanuelle said. I'm one of the person who likes playing with the sports data, but any idea that I had, I could not work on that idea unless it was sellable, like something that you can like use for something. So that was a problem. So unless it is good for some like money, from monetary perspective, it's not interested for most of the academics.
When you work on problems that are sort of a mathematical nature, but they are applied from the world, it's really easy to work on problems that are connected to certain fields like sports, like finance, like revenue management. And also I think sort of as applied mathematicians, once you sort of abstract the problem away, all the problems start to feel similar, right? And you can
they do.
really focusing on like problems that maybe you thought you were going to end up solving because you're doing mathematics and it's fun. And one thing that's been really difficult for me, at least, is like just trying to keep myself grounded in that the things that I'm working on really are things that I think are important, not just things that I think are cute or fun or nice or interesting.
And so in CAASI, we have undergraduates, staff members, community members, professors, master's students, people from other places, activists, all in one same space and kind of like working together in a non-hierarchical way. And then we hear all these things about like different languages or like distrust or like being like not being exposed to certain problems or having units that you have to sort of like strategize in order to be able to publish it or to use it. So how have working with CAASI helped you integrate this technical and the social part? And how can you kind of take from that question, what changes would you like to see on the larger scale to support quantitatively oriented students that like have a social justice calling?
So I really think that working with CAASI, the biggest impact I've seen on like my work and my approach to my work is just the community that CAASI provides. I think there is such an enormous difference working with people who are socially justice oriented and working with people who you more or less have to convince. I know when I was working with some like pure math professors, there were times where I didn't even feel comfortable bringing up certain research questions because especially as like a woman in STEM, like I was really worried about being seen as like, oh, like they're bringing like a sensitive, like feminine side to this that's unwelcome in like the pure STEM fields. So there's that. And then to answer the second question about what can we do for social justice oriented quantitative students, I think just like giving the opportunity for students to work in interdisciplinary areas is really helpful. I think for me, I didn't really think about it until I was nearing the end of my undergraduate degree, because I started to get exposure to various things. I did an undergraduate research fellowship that was really interdisciplinary, and I was able to work with a lot of different students, and then from that found CAASI and all of that. And I think that just getting the exposure to different kinds of research really like startled something in my brain to really realize that I cared about math and I cared about the problems I was working on, but there were other problems that were more prescient and like just more significant. And I think there isn't a lot of focus on like exposing students to different ideas. There's just a lot of like, you need to get trained to be this one kind of student. And I think it's important to give students like the opportunity to work on different kinds of research and maybe bring more social justice oriented research into more quantitative fields and asking those students, as opposed to only ever bringing it to like the social work students and stuff like that. I think that's really important.
A lot of stuff has already been kind of covered, but like one thing I just want to say about GTA and CAASI in general is like, it's kind of unique among the organizations I've like been a part of in my academic career, in that it seems like the people are all sort of self-selecting into the group, but it ends up that, you know, you get people from a lot of very different backgrounds, which is really interesting. You know, a lot of times if you have like a finance club or a math club, you get all people with the same skill set who all come together. But yeah, at least in my interaction with CAASI, it's been amazingly diverse in terms of backgrounds, in terms of the like problems people care about.
What's been great about CAASI is it's helped kind of give meaningful framing to these questions. Like I think it lets people who are, you know, have these different orientations actually kind of develop a question that is answerable in these ways and, you know, could have an impact. Because I think that, you know, people got to this at other points, but it's really easy to ask some type of, you know, optimization question, but, you know, who is that really for, and what is kind of the outcome of that? So I think coming up with the right types of questions has been great in CAASI, especially in G2A. And then I think what I'd like to see is kind of, to Emmeline's point, you know, bringing those people together in general. I think that there are a surprising number of people sort of within those like social work programs who might be more quantitatively adept than they realize.
So what Emmeline was saying was exposing mathematics student to social justice problem framed as a mathematics problem. And then what Sean is saying is exposing social work problems to computational problem faced as a social work problem.
They might have some ideas that might not be directly marketable, or something that might not have like real publishable value, but you should let them like speak. You should have freedom. That is what I get in CAASI. I can talk about any ideas and then we discuss, and most of the time it will be, we can get something out of it, or maybe not. Like when we started one of our projects, this gotoiletpaper.com, we just thought it was just kind thing to do to the population. And at the end, we got to one of the best conferences in our field. So we started as a just pure altruistic project, and we ended up with a like grant and also paper out of it. So once you have freedom to talk about some ideas, you will get to where you want. So you will satisfy both your employer and everybody.